Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we're back with my top shooting guards in this year's draft. I'll show you the list. And some people might say these guys might be wings in the NBA or they were point guards in college. These are guys that I believe will be shooting guards in the NBA. And if I believe that they can play other positions such as the wing position, then I'll say that in the video. I want to hear your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of the list? And just any comments. Who you guys think are the top shooting guards that I didn't mention? So obviously the top shooting guard in this year's draft, Jaylen Green. And I said this in my latest mock draft that I believe the difference between Jaylen Green and Evan Mobley and Cade Cunningham is I think Jaylen Green has the all NBA potential that Cunningham and Mobley have. Like these three guys are all NBA guys. The difference is I think Mobley and Cunningham have a higher floor than Jaylen Green. Jaylen Green has a very high ceiling, but he has a low floor compared to the top three prospect. But nonetheless, he's a phenomenal prospect who will be an all-star, I truly believe. And he'll be a cornerstone. He's a guy who is not as athletic as Anthony Edwards was last year, but a guy who is more polished and has more skill than Anthony Edwards. So I think he could have a very, very similar rookie year to Anthony Edwards in the sense, except if you look at Anthony Edwards' last, like, I think 25 games, he was unreal. I don't think Jaylen Green will be doing that, but I think Jaylen Green, it's safe to say they'd be averaging close to 20 points, maybe a steal and a half a game, and being able to do a little bit of everything. Maybe his three-point shot won't be like close to 40%, but I think he'll show the confidence to be taking those shots, driving to the rim, drawing fouls, using his elite first step and his ability just to shift into next gear that some players don't have. I really think that's why Jaylen Green's the best player. He just has the potential just to be all NBA. James Bouknight, I know some people can argue that he might be a wing in the modern NBA, but this guy's the definition of a three-level scorer. He can score inside, he can drive, get fouled, and use his arms to continue attacking the rim, or he can really just go and hit you from three. He's a great finisher. He's got great footwork and like shake with his handles to create separation or drive to the rim, and he's a guy who just has so much craft. Like, he's a guy who has a bag of tricks, and James Bouknight is a guy who's really good. And by the way, the little Sam Vecini are the people who I took these quotes from, so shout out to everyone who I used these quotes from. Now, Keon Johnson is probably the most athletic person in this draft. He set an NBA combine record with 48-inch vertical, which is unreal, unimaginable. And he's a guy who comes in right now, elite defender. I swear, by his second season in the NBA, he should be second team all defensive. He has all the tools to be very good. And he averaged 14.5 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists over his final 12 games. And we can all agree that what he needs is that three-point shot to work on. And with that, if he can get his three-point shot down, his handle and his driving ability, this is a guy who will be a free throw machine, just taking free throw after free throw after free throw, using his athleticism to get to the rack. And if he develops that early in the career, and then in the next few years he develops his three-point shot, this is a guy who will be one of the better two-way players. Now, Davion Mitchell is probably the most pro-ready player in this draft, besides maybe Corey Kispert, and obviously Cade Cunningham's probably going to be pro-ready. But in the sense of players who aren't at the very top of the draft, I think Davion Mitchell with Corey Kispert and Chris Duarte are guys that if they draft these guys, these are players who can play 25, 30 minutes starting now and be effective NBA players. Like Davion Mitchell, yeah, 6'2", 205 pounds, and you could argue he's a point guard in college. This guy is an undersized, elite defensive shooting guard. He was one of the best defensive players in the college game. He's a guy who uses his length and his peskiness to just poke the ball out, read the passing lanes and make the right play at the right time. And he also scored over 20 points a game while shooting 45% from three. Come on, Davion Mitchell. Some people might have Chris Duarte lower on their board. I don't give a fuck about him being 23 years old. He's 6'6", 190 pounds. Again, another guy who could be playing the small forward position. This is a guy who can guard shooting guards, point guards, small forwards, and some power forwards. And he's a guy who could probably play all of those positions. Probably not point guard, but still. He's a guy, again, like Davion Mitchell, who's tailor-made for the NBA. He's a member of the all-defense Pac-12. He's 6'6". He's a legit 40% three-point shooter. And he can handle the ball and make good decisions, has high basketball IQ. He's a guy who's a high-level role player who can start immediately. And that's why I hope the Lakers draft him. It seems like he might not be falling that far, but if he does, holy crap, that'd be awesome. Now, Jayden Springer, a guy people could argue was a point guard in college. Yeah, he averaged 16 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists in his final 11 games, and showing why he's that 5-star prospect. He's an insane defender. He is so good, okay? He plays basically solely off 2 feet and doesn't seem to get the most out of his athleticism, but he plays that bully ball. And I want to say that he could be developed into a more efficient and better defensive version of Dylan Brooks. Like, they have a very similar frame and play style, and I think he could be a better version of him. Cam Thomas is arguably the best natural scorer. I think this is a guy who could follow the Jamal Crawford, Lou Williams, where they are 6th man of the year, 20-point scorer. This guy sucks at defense, terrible at defense. Yes, he's 6'4", but I think he has a 6'4", 6'5" wingspan. Doesn't have the length to be there, but he's a guy that if you just tell him, go out there, man, just be Jordan Clarkson, play 20, 25, sometimes 30 minutes, and just take as many shots as you want. Have the ultimate green light. Ayo Dosunmu would be drafted so much higher if he wasn't 21 years old, but he was one of the best players in college basketball. 20 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. He has the length, athleticism, vision, and defensive ability, and the poise to be a great player. Yeah, he shot 39% on under 100 attempts this past season, and he was a 34.5% career college three-point shooter with over 300 plus attempts. And you could argue that's because his shot is mechanically wonky and that that'll be fixed easily in the NBA. But you're getting a guy who get another player who can play day one. I would really like the Denver Nuggets to get him, and who's going to be a scorer, a guy who can come out rookie year averaging at least 14 points a game. Joel Ayaya is a guy I haven't watched much, and shout out to Bleacher Report for this, but it seems like he's not the most athletic guy, and he is a pick and roll ball handler. It seems like he's kind of a plug and play reserve who gives you some good backcourt depth. I don't know much about him. Joel Ayaya, it's just from what I read, it was just looked like from the consensus he was one of the top shooting guards. So I want to hear your opinion on him. I don't know much, and I will say honestly, I don't know much about him. Last guy, Johnny Zang. Some people might say he's a small forward. I think he's a shooting guard. And his size is perfect. He might not be as athletic as the other shooting guards, but his size will make up for that. Look, this guy has that Mamba mentality. Will take tough shots. Will try to do everything. He hit 60 pull-up shots in 27 games at a 47.2%. He's a guy who can go off ISO, pick and roll, screens. He loves spotting up, escape dribbling into jumpers, and he doesn't put much pressure on the rim. I would really like him becoming a guy who can attack the rim more often. But yeah, I really like Johnny Zang, and I really wish he was a first-round pick. So this is my list, guys. I want to hear your thoughts down below. But that is it from me today. Puppies. Roll.